it's so deep, and they've been rigging the rules for so long, and controlling the narrative in ways that I think the left and Democrats broadly just are reacting to. That it just it's overwhelming, and I wonder how you're feeling. Does this feel like at all a different moment to you, or is it just am I just too young to know how bad it can
no,
be?
you rightly characterized. Let me just read something from you. This is from Black Metropolis, written by the great Sinclair Drayton, Horace Caton. And this is how they end the text. Because now this is 1945, right? 1945, and they're talking about how do we move forward? He says, it's conceivable that the Negro question, given the moral flabbiness of America, is incapable of solution. Then he goes on to say, but we must realize this one world. Black folk have been the whipping boy for the emerging American fascism for a while. He said, what happens to one affects all. A blow strikes for freedom in Bronzeville gives its echo in Paris, in Senegal. A victory for fascism in Midwest metropolis would sound the knell of doom for the common man everywhere. Now, of course, Richard Wright wrote the introduction to it, right? This is young Richard Wright. And what does he have to say? Richard Wright says quite explicitly, he says, let us be just very honest about this. He says, Richard Wright says it quite explicitly. He says, oh, will America, when she's brought face to face with the problem of the Negro, and he's talking about the class question, collapse in a moral spasm, as did Europe when confronted with the problem of the Jew. This is 1945. Now, this is at a time in which, Black folk probably got about 75% poverty. It's only about 4% of us going to college. Middle class is a lumping bourgeoisie so thick and thin and shallow that you go to Fisk with the paper bag tests and Howard and so forth. And yet here come these dignified Black folk. Some of them in the Communist Party, some of them socialists, some of them just progressive, some of them just loving Jesus or loving Muhammad or loving Buddha, but gonna fight to death. Right? 1945. Now here we go, 80 years later. Right, the whole planet's about to collapse. Fascism everywhere in Hungary and Brazil and different parts of Africa, increasing everywhere you look, and yet we still telling the truth, seeking justice, loving our neighbor, trying to be stylish, got a smile on our face, and remember our mamas and our daddies and our grandparents. You see, ooh, what a people. Not because we beyond anybody else, but because that's where we come from. That's what's going into the making of who we are as a blues people and a jazz people, you see. And does it mean then there's any guarantee? Not at all. Shoot, a comet may come and just knock out the whole planet, but we went down with style and a smile. Fascism may tell we went down with style and a smile. We might win. And if we win, we're going to have to keep the vigilance going because, as you know, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Going to need some more critics. Going to need some more truth telling. And we put it on to the next generation. That's exactly, for me, the good news in a very, very bad news global situation.
Well, look, Dr. West, I don't know how I can miss the opportunity to end on that